This is KBS World Radio, the overseas service of the Korean Broadcasting System, coming to you from Seoul, the capital of the Republic of Korea. We now begin today's English broadcast on KBS World Radio.
From Seoul, Korea, KBS World Radio News starts right now. On today's broadcast, the Pentagon plans its first test to shoot down an intercontinental ballistic missile as Washington grows concerned about North Korea's missile capabilities. Voice of America reports the research arm of Congress has indicated challenging times may be ahead for U.S.-South Korea relations. And South Korea's President Moon Jae-in posts a message on Facebook Saturday expressing his hope to meet Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg. This is KBS World Radio News. I'm Bruce Harrison. The Associated Press reports the Pentagon will try to shoot down an intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM, in a test as Washington grows more concerned about North Korea's missile capabilities. Citing U.S. officials, the AP said the test is to more closely simulate shooting down an ICBM fired by North Korea at the U.S. mainland. According to the report, the American missile interceptor has a spotty track record. Since 1999, it has successfully intercepted missiles with shorter ranges than an ICBM 9 out of 17 times. The latest test in June 2014 was a success, but it came after 3 consecutive failures. AP said North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has yet to test an ICBM, but Pentagon officials believe he's quickly heading in that direction. Pundits believe the Pentagon's upcoming test is in response to Pyongyang's successful tests of a medium-range ballistic missile on Sunday and North Korea's announcement to mass-produce that missile and deploy it for action. According to North Korean state media, Kim approved deployment of the Pukguksong-2 after the test. After its first test in February, the Pukguksong-2 is believed to have become deployment-ready in just 3 months. It has a range of about 2,000 kilometers. Voice of America reports the research arm of Congress has indicated challenging times may be ahead for U.S.-South Korea relations. According to VOA, the Congressional Research Service wrote in a report that there could be possible conflict between Seoul and Washington as the new leaders of both countries shift away from their predecessors' approaches in dealing with North Korea. The report underlined that President Moon Jae-in has opposed a sanctions-centered approach and is open to visiting the North and resuming operation of the Kaesong industrial complex. The report said if Moon's ideas are put into action, it could clash with the Trump administration's North Korea policy of maximum pressure. The report also pointed out that Moon promised he will seek inter-Korean dialogue and exchanges only when the conditions are right or Pyongyang changes its attitude. But the report said it's difficult to know the clear boundaries. As for the U.S., the report noted inconsistent remarks on North Korea by government officials, such as regarding the conditions on which the U.S. will hold talks with the North and whether it's ready to launch a preemptive attack. Voice of America reports North Korea's permanent mission to the United Nations has defended the North's latest ballistic missile launch and opposed additional sanctions on Pyongyang. According to the report, the North's deputy ambassador to the UN, Kim In-young, told reporters in New York on Friday that Sunday's launch of a Pukguksong-2, a medium-range ballistic missile, was successful. The envoy claimed the test launch was to confirm technical aspects of the missile's weapon system and examine how it adjusts to various conditions ahead of actual deployment. Kim said test launches are part of a normal process for deployment and strengthening military power for defense. The North Korean official also argued that UN sanctions have no legal basis. North Korea issued a statement Saturday and condemned the U.S. and other UN member nations for discussing greater sanctions against the North. According to the North's official Korean Central News Agency, the statement issued by Vice Foreign Minister Park Myung-guk said the U.S. and its followers are, in his own words, freaked out by the North's nuclear explosions and are running amok with this sanction talk. Park criticized the claim that the North's latest rocket launch violates UN Security Council resolutions. He said the resolutions have no legal grounds and apply double standards. He also blasted UN members who, he says, unconditionally abide by Washington's requests regardless of justice or principles. On Tuesday, the UNSC denounced North Korea's latest launch of a medium-range ballistic missile and discussed further sanctions on Pyongyang. President Moon Jae-in posted a message on Facebook Saturday expressing hope to meet with Facebook founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg. In the message, Moon said he wishes to meet with Zuckerberg and exchange views about online communication in the modern era. He also said he wants to talk about how to more effectively communicate with people around the world. The president said we live in an era where we meet, connect, and communicate with global citizens online. He said that just as we learned about the lives of others through books, news, and movies in the past era, we now share one another's life and experience through online communication. He added that in this light, Facebook is key to his vision of a fourth industrial revolution centered on people. Zuckerberg previously sent an email to the South Korean leader congratulating his inauguration and expressing hopes to meet him in person in the near future. Public corporations under the Ministry of Commerce, Industry, and Energy will push to convert 30,000 irregular workers into full-time employees. The ministry said Saturday that 41 public firms and semi-public agencies held a special meeting Friday and discussed the transition. The Korea Electric Power Corporation employs 7,700 irregular workers, and the Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power Company employs 7,300. The Korea Trade Investment Promotion Agency employs about 500. Individual firms will decide on how to make the transition depending on respective situations. For instance, the Korea Testing Laboratory plans to make many contractors full-time staff by hiring them directly. A survey finds that single South Korean men and women focus the most on personality when choosing a spouse. In a study based on data from 2015, the Korea Institute for Health and Social Affairs asked 2,000 single people between the ages of 20 and 44 what they considered when selecting a spouse. Personality was the top answer for both men and women at 44 and 37% respectively. For women, over 20% considered the partner's economic status. This was followed by trust and love, a man's upbringing and family background, occupation, health, and appearance, among other variables. For single men, over 20% said trust and love was most important, followed by health, family environment, economic status, the woman's looks, and then occupation. Chinese media report that a direct high-speed railway will be built between Shenyang and Yangning Province and Mount Baekdu along the North Korean border. Reports say the China Railway Construction Corporation designated the passenger rail project early this year and conducted a feasibility survey in March. A follow-up report on the survey is expected next month. Trains will be able to travel up to 350 kilometers an hour on the 436-kilometer-long railway. The project is expected to cost about 62 billion Chinese yuan, which is about 10.2 trillion Korean won. South Korea has advanced to the group round of 16 in the FIFA U20 World Cup with a second-place finish in Group A. After winning its first two matches and securing a ticket to the next round, Team Korea lost to England 1-0 in its third and final group match. And that's the news from KBS World Radio's News Center in Seoul. I'm Bruce Harrison.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Saturday Mailbag Show, KBS Listeners Lounge, coming to you from Seoul, the capital of South Korea. It's Saturday, May 27th, 2017, and as always, we've got the latest listener letters, messages, and reports we've received from you coming right up.
So please stay tuned. I'm Lawrence Taylor.
And I'm Karen Choi. We'll be right back.
Hi, Karen. How are you today?
I'm good.
It's great to have you back in the studio again.
It's great to be back again. And just in case our listeners missed out on last week's Listeners Lounge, I'm here for a few weeks filling in for Jian as she is on vacation.
Yes, Jian is on a well-deserved holiday in the US and Canada, where she's visiting her sister and some friends. We're all very jealous here at KBS, but of course we hope she's having a great time there.
Yeah, well, I'm a little jealous, but the weather's been so nice here in Seoul, so I'm not that jealous. And I'm also happy because I got to spend a few weeks here, or I'm getting to spend a few weeks here catching up with our dear listeners, and I get to see how they've been doing and what they're up to. And you know what? I really didn't realize how much I had missed the show until I was here with you last week.
Yeah, right. It must have been nice to be back and hear the familiar names again. I'm sure our listeners were happy to hear your voice too.
Yeah.
But speaking of Jian, she recently got in touch with us because she met up with someone that I think our listeners would be very happy to hear some updates on.
Yeah, I was really happy to hear this name too. So while she was on vacation, Jian was able to meet up with Lauren Hardy, who was Emily's predecessor, and she was actually here at KBS World Radio for a little longer than her initial contract of 2 years. So our listeners were able to hear her voice and correspond with her for a little bit longer.
And of course, you were probably able to host Listeners Lounge with her for that much longer as well too. So I'm sure our listeners and you will remember those times very fondly.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have a special treat for you guys.
Yes, so Jian took a photo with Lauren while they got together, and she sent it to us, and we've posted it up on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/EnglishKBS. So if you are by a computer, or later on, if you are near a computer, you should definitely come in and take a look.
Jian said the meeting was quite unexpected because she didn't actually know that Lauren was in the neighborhood, but they got in touch with each other and found out they're actually very close by, and they decided to grab a cup of coffee together.
Yeah, I think that that tends to happen when you travel. You know, you go and then you try to get in touch with the people that you think are, I don't know, maybe not nearby, but in the country. And then you're like, oh, hey, you're here? Okay, let's meet up. So you get to meet up with people that you haven't been keeping in touch with regularly. But we were really curious about Lauren and what she's been up to after she left Korea, as it has been quite a few years. But it turns out that she is still working in the media/broadcasting industry. So that's also great news.
As we mentioned, the picture of Jian and Lauren is up on our Facebook page. And I'm sure Lauren will also want to take a look at the post herself. So if you would like to ask how she's doing, you could post up some comments for her too. I bet she'd really enjoy that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Lauren, I also wonder how Emily is doing and how she is adjusting back at home. I wonder if she's been listening to us.
Me too, actually. If you are listening, Emily, please let us know what you are doing back home in Ireland. I'm sure our listeners would love to hear what you're up to too. And speaking of our Facebook page, we also posted up a picture of a special Star Trek themed envelope from our listener, Roger R. Roussel, this week.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of our listeners and a lot of people collect stamps. I was looking through some stuff at our in-laws' place at home, and I found a big collection of stamp books that my husband and my sister-in-law had collected since they were in elementary school, so they were like years old.
Were these like secret stamp books? Is this a closet kind of hobby they had? Or?
I don't know. I don't know if it was a closet hobby or not, but they were old.
Right, okay.
And I decided to just, hang on to them because I think, I don't know, maybe they might be worth a lot.
Yeah, they might be valuable, right?
So we decided to hang on to them. But in any case, it's always interesting to see different stamps from different countries, and we get the privilege to do that because we receive so many letters from our listeners from around the world. And fans of the Star Trek Enterprise TV show will recognize Captain Jonathan Archer and Captain Catherine Janeway on the stamps on Roger's envelope. If you go and take a look at the Facebook page, if you haven't already, you should definitely swing by and take a look.
Right, we'll get to Roger's letter later on in the show. In the meantime, we're going to take a quick break now, but we'll be right back with this week's letters and reports, so please don't go away. You're You're listening to KBS Listeners Lounge on KBS World Radio. It's time now for us to take a look at the listener letters and reception reports. As usual, we've received some fantastic handwritten, typed up and emailed comments, letters and reception reports from you, our listeners, and we'll share some of those with you on this program.
Okay, so let's jump right into our reports, starting off with the emails that we received. Here is an email from Sekar PS of India, who is also our official monitor. It's dated May 20th, and his reception report is actually for May 19th.
Sekar said he tuned into us on 9.640 megahertz at 1600 hours UTC, which matches our broadcasting schedule for the English language broadcast beamed towards Southeast Asia. He rated the SIMPOs as 4s across the board, so overall good.
That is great to hear. He said the transmission was good, and he heard the news with details on President Moon's party leaders agreeing on setting up a consultative body as well as other issues. And he also said he heard drama lines.
Sekar also added that he used a Texan 606 receiver with a telescopic antenna to hear our transmissions. Thank you so much for your detailed report.
Another Indian listener, Muraldihar M. from Bangalore, sent us 2 reception reports with his email dated May 19th, and here's what he said. I listened to the great programs broadcast by KBS World Radio. I would like to report the reception for KBS World Radio shortwave service in English.
His reception report was for Tuesday, May 9th and Tuesday, May 16th. He said the frequency was 9.880 megahertz at 1400 hours UTC for both days. Last week, another listener and official monitor who tuned in from Bangladesh, who was called Dewan Rafiqul Islam, also told us that he tuned in on the exact same frequency, which of course is 9.880 megahertz at 1400 hours UTC. Actually, we mistakenly told him that this was not an official frequency. However, we recently started this in March.
Yes, we apologize for that mistake. 9.880 megahertz at 1400 hours UTC is on our broadcasting schedule, and it's beamed towards India. So we thought there might be a mix-up, but we were mistaken. This all happened because Chien isn't here. I'm taking her place. I actually got the older frequency schedule, so I didn't know that 9.880 megahertz was included onto the new list for March. So we made the mistake. It's new. It's on there. So yes, thank you for letting us know. And this all happened, like I said, because June isn't here. So going back to Murali's report for May 9th, he tuned into the news, so calling, drama lines, and the Korea travelogue, which was on the amazing mountain of Kumsan, which means a mountain covered in silk.
And for May 16th, he said he had the news, soul calling, drama lines, and the Korea travelogue, which was about the Berrygill Road walking trail that follows the very road that residents used to take on the way to picking sea plants.
He said the SIMPO for May 9th was 43333, so overall fair, while May 16th was 3s across the board as well.
Thank you so much for your reports, Murali.
And we had another email from our official monitor, Ashraful Islam of Bangladesh, who also said he listened to us on that same frequency.
Yes, in his email dated May 17th, he said he tuned in on May 13th at 9.880 megahertz at 1400 hours UTC. He used a Grundig Yachtboy 80 digital receiver with a telescopic rod antenna. He said he listened to Listener's Lounge and the reception condition was good with an SIO rating of 454.
So thank you so much for your report.
Our next email comes from Toshiya Nishimura of Hiroshima, Japan. Toshiya said, "It is with great pleasure that I report the reception of your broadcast on the frequency 9.580 megahertz on Sunday, May 14th at 0200 hours UTC. The language of your broadcast was in English."
Toshiya gave us details about what he heard from start to finish, including the news, interview program, talk show, music, and more. He said he used a Texan PL660 receiver with a vertical Sony AN12 antenna.
Toshiya said the reception conditions have been tolerable lately, and it has been easy to hear at this time. He noted that the SIMPO was between 55444 to 45343, so overall good to fair. Toshiya also said he listened to us for the first time in a long while, and he actually even apologized that it has been so long.
Oh, well, Toshiya, no need to apologize. We are always happy to hear from our listeners, whether it has been a long time or just a few days. I do think we get worried sometimes when we don't hear from someone for a while that normally corresponds with us frequently. But in any case, it's great to hear from you, and thank you so much for your report.
Toshiya also asked that we send him a QSL card, and of course we will definitely do that. We look forward to hearing back from you very soon.
Well, moving on to our online reception reports, we had our official monitor, Alan Holder of the Isle of Wight, UK, send us a number of reports from May 9th through May 21st.
Alan listened to us on two different frequencies, 15.575 MHz at 1300 hours UTC and 9.515 MHz at 1600 hours UTC, which both match our broadcasting schedule for our English language broadcast.
Well, Alan listened to 15.575 MHz at 1300 hours UTC, which is the frequency beamed towards North America, nearly every day from May 10th through the 21st, and noted that the overall reception condition ranged from very poor to fair, and it seems the best day for listening was May 14th, when the SINPO was 35443.
For 9.515 MHz at 1600 hours UTC, which is beamed towards Europe, the conditions were slightly better as most days were overall fair, with some days poor and just a couple of days very poor.
Alan used a Yaesu FRG 7700 communications receiver with a Wellbrook ALA 1530 loop antenna, and here's his letter to us. He says, "Hello friends, thanks very much for giving me your birthday greeting on a recent Listeners Lounge show. It's hard to believe I am 62 years old, 62 years young, and now I started listening to KBS radio when I was 24. I heard Lawrence wanting to attend the Isle of Wight Music Festival sometime in the future when he is back in Britain. It certainly always is a very well-attended event and featuring many well-known artists, although it is very crowded, and I have to say it never really appealed to me. Lawrence, I hope you will come to my island again, for there is always plenty of visitors to see and do here during the summer months especially."
Well, I definitely hope to go back to the Isle of Wight one day. The next time I'm back home for the summer, I'll definitely hop on the ferry and make the trip from Bournemouth. Alan goes on in his letter, "I hope Gian has a good holiday, and I want to welcome back Karen to the Listeners Lounge. It's nice to hear her back as co-host, even if it is for just a few weeks. Karen, how is your new daughter getting on? She must be getting quite big now."
Yes, she is getting quite big. She just turned 2 in March, so she's running around. She's screaming all the time. She's just started talking, so she's talking all day. She's quite a joy to watch. So thanks so much for asking about her, and happy birthday. I didn't know you turned 62, so happy birthday to you, and thanks so much for welcoming me back. It's great to hear from you, Alan. And let me finish the rest of Alan's letter. He goes on saying, "I have been following the presidential elections in Korea with much interest, and I wish President Moon much success in his job. Meanwhile, your recent Korea Today and Tomorrow program focusing on the new president's security pledges was very interesting. I also enjoyed listening to the in-depth analysis of the election of your new president on a previous current affairs in focus item. I'm very keen on your new series Korea Travelogue. Why isn't it spelled Travelogue with travel, L-O-G-U-E, or is it that purely the British way of spelling it? I like the recent programs focusing on the Namhae region, including the Kumsan Mountain and the Boryam Temple. I continue to enjoy listening to Sounds of Korea. The edition featuring the songs of peace and prosperity was great. We get to hear lots of modern-day Korean contemporary music, but how about broadcasting more popular music from the 1950s and 1960s period? There were some really great melodies around during this time. I used to hear them on the Golden Oldies show on KBS World TV. A while ago, I seem to remember that Yuna Lee asked the listeners for their ideas about prize gifts for forthcoming contests. Years ago, KBS World sometimes used to give out prizes of Korean postage stamps. Since most of your listeners are QSL collectors, it would not surprise me if many of them collect foreign stamps as well. So I think that Korean stamps would make ideal gifts and would be greatly appreciated by the listeners. That's it for now. Best wishes as always, Alan Holder.
Well, Alan gave us lots of great ideas there. We'll definitely recommend giving out stamps as gifts to our producers.
Yes, I actually think we did give out stamp books a while back as special gifts to a few listeners. They were really popular. Maybe we'll have a chance to do it again sometime in the future. As we mentioned earlier in the intro, we got a cool Star Trek themed envelope from Roger Roussel of Canada.
Roger tuned in on May 4th at 15.575 MHz at 1300 hours UTC, and he rated the SINPO 35433, so overall fair. He wrote program details, including about KBS World Radio News, which talked about the early voting period for the presidential elections, and U.S. citizens arrested in North Korea, among other issues.
Roger also tuned into Seoul Calling and said, "Dear radio friends, I'm always happy to listen to your very interesting and well-presented radio broadcasts. For me, it is with great pleasure that I listen to your radio station. Keep up the great job. I hope you can verify this report with a QSL card."
Roger also said he listened using a Grundig satellite 800 receiver and 25-meter outdoor antenna, and he had been a shortwave listener since May 1979, so that's nearly 40 years.
Yeah, that is amazing. Thank you so much for your letter and Star Trek-themed envelope. We enjoyed it and enjoyed sharing it with our listeners, and we hope to hear back from you soon.
Our official monitor from New Zealand, Brian D. Webb, sent us his reception reports for May 8th and May 10th. However, it turns out that he sent us reports for KBS World Radio's Spanish, Indonesian, French, and Korean language broadcasts, rather than our English language broadcasts.
So we'll make sure to send the reports to the respective language sections. Thanks for sending them, and we hope you can send along a report for our English broadcast so we can confirm it for you too.
Another official monitor, Cheng Nang Lu of Taiwan, sent us the letter this week. He actually listened to our programs nearly every day throughout the month of April.
That's right. He listened 24 out of 30 days in April on 9.570 megahertz at 0800 hours UTC, which matches our broadcasting schedule for our English language broadcast.
Well, certainly a very dedicated listener.
Yes.
The reception conditions must have been loud and clear for Taiwan, because he gave a SINPO rating of 5s across the board for most of the days he listened to us. Except for April 26th, which he rated as 4s across the board, and April 6th and April 28th, which are overall good.
So in general, it sounds like the reception conditions were excellent for the most part. Cheng included a lovely QSL card of Radio Taipei International in his reception report to us, and we have posted up a picture of it on our Facebook page for our listeners to take a look at.
He also asked us to send him some reception report forms, and we definitely will. Thanks for your reports and QSL card.
Now, I think we may have time for one last letter. We received a letter from our loyal listener, Fumito Hokamura of Japan. It's dated April 10th. He listened to us on 9.580 megahertz at 0200 hours UTC using a ATS 909X receiver and rod antenna.
He listened to Hot Issues and the News, which talked about the presidential election and Korea's online K-Bank. He also heard a K-pop show and a song by Jo Young-pil, as well as listener song requests.
He rated the SINPO 35222, so overall poor, which was noticeable because Fumito usually leaves very detailed comments about what he hears on the airwaves, and I wonder why the reception condition was so poor for that day.
Fumito said, "How have you been? I couldn't understand today's shortwave program. It was so noisy."
Now, he didn't leave any other message for us, but we hope you are doing well. Thank you so much for your report, and we hope that the reception conditions will be much better the next time so you can hear us better, and we hope to hear back from you soon. And that is all the time we have for the letters and emails as well as reception reports from you today. We'll be sure to send out the corresponding QSL cards to everyone who requested.
It's now time to take a peek into KBS World Radio's mailroom with our mail correspondent, Yuna Lee. Here's Inside the Mailbox. That's all we have for you this week on KBS Listeners Lounge. We hope you enjoyed the show. This has been Lawrence Taylor.
And this has been Karen Choi. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you for tuning in to KBS World Radio. KBS World Radio is Korea's flagship international broadcaster, airing in 11 different languages. The English service of KBS World Radio broadcasts 2 hours a day for various media outlets, including shortwave radio, satellite radio, and internet. Visit our website at world.kbs.co.kr, where you can stream all of our content on our internet radio Wink by tuning into various channels like Wink 24 and Wink Music. Wink is also available on mobile if you download our on-air app onto your mobile phone.
Visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/EnglishKBS or follow us on Twitter at KBS World Radio. You can also email